it's going to happen. JT's going to happen, but in the event that it doesn't, I can see that line of thinking. I don't think the Dodgers are well built enough to go into the season making no more position player moves and win another World Series. They're not quite there. The bullpen, we've seen a lot more of the bullpen get better. Obviously, they're throwing a lot of money in the bullpen with some different names. Before we get into bullpen, I'm seeing a few people bring it up, the Kris Bryant idea, and I don't think we've got too much. We've always kind of passed over Bryant while doing these things this offseason. Does Kris Bryant make enough sense for this team? I mean, even if we have talked about it, whatever, people don't remember. We don't remember things. But does Kris Bryant make like the right sense? Does it seem like the right move to get him for 1 year? Because you're not going to extend him, and he's going to be a free agent. You make that move for Bryant. You do it early enough so you can still get a draft pick out of him if that's still going to be a thing, because we don't know what the CBA is going to look like. Do you do something like that, or like you were saying, do you think maybe Friedman would have something different up his sleeve?
He very well could be a filler piece. He could be an option where they look at it and they say, hey, we're not getting JT back because he wants 4 years, and he's going to go on to a team that's going to give him those 4 years. And great for JT if that's the case. I honestly hope something like that for him, because I want him to get a long-term contract to send him off in his career, because I like JT and I want him to get the best that he can for himself. Mm-hmm. With that in mind, if that's the case, Bryant makes sense as a 1 year filler, as a guy who you're going to use for just the 2021 season, probably not going to re-sign to a contract. I could not see a situation where the Dodgers offer Kris Bryant a long-term contract, no matter how good his 2021 season would be if he was with them, regardless. But again, it all comes down to what the Cubs are asking for him. If the return's relatively low, I would say why not go for him? Take a roll of the dice on it. At least you get a little bit of a defensive upgrade. It's not much. It's very, very, very close. It's not much of a defensive upgrade, but JT's been in decline at defense for a while now. If you can fill in that gap, just wait another year until you get somebody to take over third base long term. Why not? And it doesn't hurt. His bat has shown in the past that he can be a very, very good hitter. He had a bad 2020 season, but that does not define his entire career. And I don't think it will define his entire career. But if you can get him on the low, man, I don't see why you wouldn't go for him.
Well, what is the deal, before we get into maybe what you think could be the other, Friedman back burner ideas? What is a package? What is a palatable, what is a tolerable package that you would send to Chicago to bring back somebody like a former MVP?
Yeah, and that's the thing that you really have to gauge with the Cubs right now, because they just got off of a trade with Yu Darvish where they arguably got fleeced. Arguably. Depends on how you look at it. I mean, obviously Darvish is aging a little bit. 2020 might have been a kind of an outlier season for him. He might have obviously benefited from the fact that he, didn't throw in that many games. But if you're looking at it and you're saying, if you're the Cubs that are just trying to get some value out of something, they've obviously soured that relationship. I don't think that's ever going to be an extension option for them in the first place, even if they were in a position to be spending money. I think they definitely screwed themselves with Kris Bryant. But if you're packaging together a couple top 30 prospects, I notorious prospect hugger. It's hard for me to let go of people, but there's a couple arms that you can let go in the farm system to justify it. I think the Cubs would be more than happy to receive some good arms. They need some arms for their farm system. Mm-hmm. And why not? It's a good time to do it for them. I think that they have to trade Kris Bryant personally, but again, it's going to go to the highest bidder, and there might be somebody out there, another team desperate for Kris Bryant's services that thinks that they can extend him, and I think that's going to be a key part of it. If there is a team that thinks they can extend Kris Bryant, they will pay for him.
What's the percentage that Kris Bryant remains a Cub, at least through opening day?
Through opening day is pretty high. I think that percentage stays pretty high. I would put it damn near zero that he stays a Cub through the trade deadline.
Roach is saying we could give up Kabert, however you want to say it, whichever tickles your boat. Would you give up some of that catching depth for one season where you JT's not going to come back? You go get that guy. You give up one guy. Would you consider something like that, or is that just way too much?
I mean, obviously, I'm very high on catching prospects. I think that's really important for me.
Yeah.
I will say that the Dodgers are extremely deep at the position, and they do need to make a decision on a few guys here pretty soon. If it is Kiebert, then it is Kiebert. It is what it is. I'm still high on him, despite all the things working against him. But if that's what it takes, doesn't hurt me too much as long as we keep those other prospects and Will Smith. The keep in mind though, the Cubs do have pretty good depth at the catching position within their farm system, so I don't think that's a guy that they're going to be in love with or after. I do much more think that they're going to be after arms or even middle infielders.